hey everybody who's watching us on Facebook. I am Laura, and I'm here with 5 other wonderful people. 3 of them are Estonians, Kadri, Sigrid, and Rain. And me, we are leaders in Estonia. And then we have this wonderful people from Circling Europe, Sean and Els, with us. And we're going to have about like 45 minutes chatting with you about circling. And maybe let's start with just introducing yourself. So like share your personal history with circling or something that feels alive to you so people can get to know you better. Who wants to go?
You choose someone.
All right, you go, Sean.
Well, I'm Sean Wilkinson. I've been circling for 15 plus years now, and still as in love with the practice as ever. And I really love coming to Estonia. Estonia circling is I've got amazing friends in Estonia now, and I love the culture, love the depth we go to. So I'm super happy we're going to be doing another SAS this February. And just seeing you guys again after the journey we had is
cool. Sean is all of our teacher. We all love you. You're the wizard of circling in my eyes. With very clear and nice seeing, and always bring a lot of details and amazing quality to the practice. Else, do you want to go? Oh, Agnes.
Well, I was just thinking that I'm not over my Facebook Live nerves yet, but I'll give it a go. Yeah, I'm Els Marie. I started circling this year, 10 years ago. Yeah, and I'll never forget how I ended up via a friend at an intro event led by Sean and John back in the day. So blown away by the impact that it had on me and what I saw happening in the space. So decided to dive in straight away, went to the circling festival, did the SAS myself, and kind of from there on started to get more and more involved in Circling Europe, assisting in weekends, assisting in SASs, leading programs online. And last year I was also in Estonia and met the beautiful Tallinn community. And I was assisting in the SAS with Sean.
Nice. Who wants to speak? Kadri? You're the new one.
Yeah, I'm got 3 years. And Agnes, can you mute yourself? And then I was from the last SIS group and the first in Estonia. Am I right? And circling for me, it has been life-changing. Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Good. Ryan, a few words about your circling.
My circling is still developing. I resonate with the previous experience, which is it's totally changed my life. It has this practice has given me so much in every field of my life, which is in at work, at communication with others, creating this presence practice, which allowed me to become more aware of myself, less reactive, more truthful and authentic towards myself and others. So that's why I say it's still developing, because there is so much to explore, and I'm grateful that circling has given me the tools necessary to navigate these realms. And I'm super curious about the second edition of Tallinn SAS course, which this meeting is about. And I'm super thrilled for our first debut SAS course as well, because all the people who participated have had a great experience and blossoming, in my sense, also becoming more alive people, and I see them more. So it's as an outsider, I can feel and see the participants more, which means something has changed, not only for them, but for me too.
Yeah. Sigrid.
Hello to everybody. Really excited to be here. Yeah, I think circling has become my lifestyle in a way, and it has helped me to become more of me in me and with other people, where I am also involved in relationships, and I like the unknown of it also. This is so really exciting, and I am a training leader, and having done circling groups, being a facilitator, and also I really like one-on-one, having been in training of circling coaching, and yeah, I agree that it's as Rain put it, that it's developing. So I'm really happy that it's not ready, and I can't be ready with it. So we develop all together with circling, me and other people, and this is the excitement of it. And for me, it's also a little bit of something. Could I use the word spiritual? Maybe a little bit, yeah. And maybe this is part of the unknown also, which is, and the word is humbleness that I am developing in me, and thank you for tonight. And also, I will be very excited to be at the weekend with Laura and Els in January. Welcome, everybody.
Agnes,
Sean, you're muted.
Yeah,
Sean.
when is the weekend again?
It's 20 and 21st of January, and then on the 19th, of Friday evening, there's a 3-hour introduction to circling for people who are new to the practice, or just anyone who wants to join for that event as well.
Yeah. Agnes, do you want to say a few words about your UN circling?
Hello. Yes. I just love the circling. It's really, I'm really fascinated about it. I have done and organizing now from July the circlings, and it has changed my life, and it seems that it has changed the others' lives also, the participants' lives. And I'm really thankful to you, Laura, because you are my inspiration. And I really feel that I have much to learn more, and I continue with this, organizing these sessions, circling sessions. I can't live without it anymore.
Yeah. Good. So I guess how this is going to go, I have a couple of questions from people, and going to ask some questions, and then all of us can discuss it in a kind of like a natural way. But I guess it's good to start with like very basic, because there might be people who've never experienced circling. So let's discuss a little bit like, what is circling? What is this practice?
Yeah, and I think especially in relation to this like 6-month journey that people might take with SAS.
Yeah.
You want to go, Sean?
You go, Ray.
I mean, it would be the best from the creator of the course. So it's coming really from the source. So I'm curious to hear your explanation around it, because you evolve also, and it's great to hear how you perceive and open this subject today.
Yeah, well, actually even just today, it's like a continual practice of like realization or discovering what maybe I've discovered 1,000 times, but each time it feels new. And today it came to me again just how much I've fallen in love with this way of being, that you really have the intention to be present and discover what's really here when you pay attention, especially in connection with other human beings, and to really discover that connection. And there's this, it's so simple in a way. It's like, okay, I'm going to be more present. I'm going to develop my kind of meditative awareness and really pay attention to what it's like to be in connection. And then there's this thing that happens, which I think we all shared. It's like, as soon as you come into that kind of presence together, it's like something shifts, and it's almost psychedelic. It's like suddenly you just, like, normal human connection is suddenly like there's a change in state, or there's one like cool way research that talks about self-transforming awareness, and it does become like that. It's like you're in connection, and suddenly, like, you might notice you feel sadness or a loneliness or an anger or an aliveness, but there's something about these emotions that are familiar, but somehow you're not normally able to really connect to it, and suddenly it just comes up, but suddenly you have a space and a way to explore, and then because others are exploring as well, they influence you and touch you in deep ways, and suddenly you're wanting to cry by the way someone shares themselves, and you see beauty in someone that you were judging, and it just keeps surprising you what it opens up in you. You never know what you're going to get in any circle, and so often I'm like, oh yeah, this is so glad I'm back, like, in the practice.
Yeah. Just hearing you speak, Sean, it's like, that's one of the things that I love. I just love so much about this practice. It's like the range that becomes available. Like all those things that you mentioned. For me, it's an experience of, like, especially when I've been out of the practice, like for a few days or something, it's like who I am, it kind of becomes more narrow. And then just dropping into that deep connection with somebody, like there's like this huge expansion of me and of my energy, and like everything that's in the depth, it kind of starts to rise, and not just like more the painful things or the shadowy things, but also I don't know if power is a good word, but it's like something expansive. Like I get into touch with an energy that feels like way bigger than just me. I had this, if I may share this incredible experience on my New Year's Eve party. I was there invited by a friend, and she introduced a friend of her that I didn't know to me. And she said, oh, but Else will be able to explain to you what circling is way better than me. And it's always like that question, like, oh, how do I explain it? so I asked this woman, so like, oh, can we sit down? Like maybe I can just show you a little bit. And it was so magical and fascinating that within, I think maybe 2 or 3 minutes of us being in that kind of direct presence and connection, like how it's like everything around us just faded away, just became blurry. And it was just like the two of us, like so deeply together. And within a few minutes, like she cried, it just poured out of her. And she literally said, like, I didn't know that this level, that this kind of connection or experience was available, but it felt so like home to her. Yeah. So yeah, expansion, range, like this broad range that becomes possible.
Yeah. What I heard from you is like like new potentials we can experience in ourselves and in connection. And maybe that leads to this other question that I got from one participant is how circling can help us with the wounds that we have, the attachment wounds and the relationship wounds that we've all grown up with. Like, yeah, what's the relationship of like how circling can touch that part in our lives? Maybe some examples would be good to hear. Like,
yeah, imagine that each of you have had moments where you've had to meet your inner struggles and challenges.
Yeah, when I started this circling journey, I think one of the main agendas was to deal with my trauma and these kind of wounds. But I understood that this is only a small part of what becomes available in circling. But the biggest benefit of seeing the wounds or being in connection in present moment with these fragile parts in me was the first time I had opportunity to give voice to these parts in a safe environment where I only didn't have chance to give voice to that part, but also be there for this voice and for this message that the part has been keeping. And what I've learned throughout the time is to reparent these parts and give compassion and love towards these aspects of myself, which in the beginning, without having these tools, were very frightening, foggy, not understandable. I was judging myself in these moments and having several reactions which wasn't healthy towards myself or towards the healing I was looking for. So basically, I think circling, the main importance is the presence, that to really be aware what I'm experiencing, and also being skeptical and how to say, observe these without becoming it or being too attached to it, and being like curious and exploring these pieces. So it created distance, it created opportunity to see the parts, and it created also the understanding and tools how to deal with my wounding and really be, how to say, useful for myself in this situation. But I love the vulnerability part, which is that being vulnerable means that you can get wounded also. It's not just healing the wounds, but there is also an opportunity for rejection. There is always opportunity for disconnection. There's always, so this is a beautiful, intimate part of human being in me, that doing myself vulnerable in one way can heal a lot, but it also opens the other door, which is that we can get affected also in these situations, which creates this sense of being alive and really feeling all the range of different kind of emotions and not just being safe. And because otherwise there wouldn't be extreme sports, or people would play only safe, then there wouldn't be a lot of things. So the vulnerability is a beautiful way to be alive and also to deal with the woundings. And it's the only way, I think, in my experience, to really reach there, because the wounds can happen only through vulnerability. So to reconnect with these parts also can happen in vulnerable space.
I resonate with the vulnerability part, and for me, in my experience, it has mainly learning step by step, more and more accepting what is now in me, and what is between me and other people, and also stay with the difficulty if this is the case, and accepting it, and even maybe accepting that I'm not accepting. And this has helped me to heal, definitely to heal some parts of me.
I got this. I led a circle yesterday actually, and the person came because his psychologist recommended circling, which was the first time for me. Like, wow, that's cool, really cool. And I think the main reason was like to actually get in contact with the feelings in a really feeling level, because there's like quite a many modalities that don't go to the feeling side. And at least my experience is that we get to the healing when we are when we feel the feelings, when we allow ourselves to feel the feelings. And yeah,
the thing that I want to add is there's something, I mean, what you guys are sharing, this feels so true. Like, I remember the first time I got circled, like live with people I didn't know, the first thing that happened in me is I started to freeze. So like my hands literally went like this, which I kind of recognized, but it was a bit stronger than normal because we'd been practicing trusting the body and trusting what unfolds, especially when we're in connection. I allowed it, which surprised me. And then suddenly I felt this almost like a loneliness that I've known my whole life, but haven't known it at the same time. And it just suddenly became so like real. And I had no idea how I could connect with the people in the circle, felt totally like out of my depths and like what's going on. And then the person who was leading the circle, in a way which I didn't understand at the time, was just every time he spoke, it was like he was coming to sit next to me in this like ice cave. And it was like he was next to me, and I was like, oh, there's a human being with me in this loneliness. What is going on? And he kept just being with me, and then layers and layers of this freeze was like relaxing. And then suddenly I just felt this deep sadness around a really difficult event that happened early in my life, which I knew was difficult, but suddenly I felt the emotion that came from just someone really being there with me, and it was like he was not interfering, but he was close, and it was, and then I was like crying my eyes out in front of 14 people I hardly knew. And at the time, I mean, I'm an English guy. I was like reserved and like I wasn't used to crying, but I was just like, whoo. And it's this combination of the connection, but not trying to make someone like improve or heal. It's like we're just exploring what's here together in the connection and what happens, and then it opens up. And that's the other thing I just wanted to touch on was there's something about especially surrendered leadership that we do in the training where it's trusting the collective intelligence between us. So we're not going to come in and go like, oh yeah, Ray needs to work on his anger and Agnes needs to work on her speaking up for herself. And let's find a way to work on that. We're all just together in presence, and then suddenly things just start happening and you don't know where you're going to get touched. But also we don't know if we're going to focus on Laura or Kadri. We're allowing this more subtle leadership to emerge. And it gets quite exciting because everyone then is involved and everyone's leadership matters. And then we touch each other in surprising ways. And that can create really deep integration of kind of attachment pain, and because you don't know how things are going to constellate, and then that it more intuitively seems to find the thing that you didn't realize was ready for you to integrate. And then just the last thing as well is the thing we also just keep discovering is the thing we think we're wounded in becomes actually our next, like becomes our deeper, more connected leadership. So that freeze and sadness that I was feeling, which previously I was kind of suppressing without knowing it, when it became conscious, then when I was leading circling after, when I developed my leadership, suddenly being able to touch my own sadness and see freeze in others. And it was like the wound became my like guiding star. And it was the thing that I thought was bad about me or not developed about me became the way for me to connect even more deeply. So that's something we often discover in the practice. Does that resonate with you, Kadri?
Yeah, I'm just I felt that I have to express it, that I'm so impressed. How do you all put it in the words and describe the circling? I have just experienced the circling miracles, but I can't describe it in a way like you do.
Well, I remember in the training that, do you remember that early on in the first weekend, you couldn't quite hear what I was saying? And it was really challenging. You're in a new group, you can't understand the leader very well. And it was partly to do with a hearing thing, but partly to do with the like new environment and new context. And it was quite hard for you at first to bring that forward. But then we had quite a kind of vulnerable, delicate, exploration. And then it was like that issue totally changed.
Yeah, and it's partly because of my poor English, and it was really vulnerable place where I started my SIS. But yeah, it was all worth it.
So I've got this question, like, is circling practice that fits to everybody, or is there some people who shouldn't do it? I think for me, it also relates to this, that there's quite a lot of people who are a bit afraid to try this practice. Like maybe they're like, should I? Maybe it's too scary. What do you guys think?
I'm interested what Agnes thinks about this one.
I think that everyone should try at least to practice circling. So, but I noticed that there's a quite lot of people who really think that it's not for them, the circling. They just say that they don't want to open themselves to everyone. If it was the question, I think that everyone should try at least, but yeah.
That is really interesting what Jörgen is saying, and my mind goes that okay, I have had groups when one person, for example, is not opening up at all. I mean, saying nothing, and the leadership is there, and we feel him or her in the room. So, in this regard, I think it's really safe that no one is pushing you to say anything, and that's a tricky question. Should it fit, or could it fit everyone, or should everyone? I don't know. It's somehow like internal, inside out, or I agree that trying out is a good idea anyway, and then your inner feeling is your guide. You can continue, or you can you maybe are not continuing. Maybe you come back to it after some time. But for me, I even don't know. It's not only the groups, but it's the whole life. So I remember once we had a conversation that, okay, probably you're not circling in the supermarket. Probably not, but still some bits of it, or the sincerity, it's there anyway. Yeah.
Sometimes I noticed that it's difficult to accept that everyone doesn't want to open themselves, because for me to speak like honestly and authentically is the most important thing, I think, in my life. It's like I feel at that moment, if I can speak as honestly as possible, it's like I'm at home. It's like my real home, or and it's for me it's the only way how to communicate.
Yeah, my experience is that my husband said that he's not interested sitting around with the people in the floor and talking about and sharing and or doing this circling stuff, but through me it's now part his everyday life as well, because living myself, this circling life is influencing him, and now he's like ready to come to the circle as well.
Yeah, we were together new year evening, or Kadri, what is how it's in English?
Yeah, New Year's.
New Year Eve.
Yeah, actually we were together like three days and nights with Kadri and other people, and like it were like 3 days circling, like constantly circling 3 days. It was like it was very, very heartwarming 3 days. And I'm really thankful Kadri and Ants who organized this 3 days.
Yeah, the one organizer was my husband, who said that he doesn't want to be in the circle. And yeah.
If I may add that me as a business owner and also a leader, also a spouse, a father, a son to my mother, and just amateur in everything. It seems that I'm related with human beings one way or another, and there is famous sentence that our quality of life comes from the quality of our relationships. And from my history, I haven't learned the tools or the skill how to create meaningful fostering connections between different human beings. Is it close relations, or is it just business partners or whoever, or just to communicate with strangers? This is an intelligence which I think gives colors into my life. And I was living somehow in a black and white world, and suddenly there's colors coming available, and emotional intelligence. As a man, I knew only two emotions, and it was very hard to discern and understand and connect with women, with my children, with with people who are going through some suffering or whatever emotions. And now this practice has created a bridge that I'm able to feel and communicate and be present in in a way that it really touches me deeply in my soul and in my cells, that I'm connected to life overall. Um, and it is hard to explain that. But if you would ask me if this is for everybody, then for me it's same important as we start to learn, as we are one, we start to learn to walk. It's the same how we start to learn to connect to people overall and towards ourselves. It's like it's a necessity. It's not an option for me. And of course, which is the beauty about circling is that some people, as was reflected, that some people don't want to open up. But the beauty of the circling is that it doesn't expect anything from another human being. It's just being present with what is. It's totally fine for you to not to open up, because being with that is also circling. So in I used to have an agenda to achieve something or go or end up somewhere or to open up people or myself, and it seems that this all most of the times fired back. And so really honoring where everybody are is the key essence. And I see some of my most loved and impactful people in my life, their super skill is just the way how they enhance and how they somehow hug a person and being in what they are, in with no judgment, and just being there and acknowledging it. And suddenly what happens is a miracle, that this safety cracks something, and suddenly these conversations become much more deeper and meaningful without anybody wanting this to happen, or it just happens naturally. So I understand people who are afraid. I mean, why we shouldn't? Because it's like I was walking like a horse. They put these protections on the eyes for not to see the traffic, what's actually going on. And suddenly someone is going to take off these protections, and suddenly I see all the noise and the things. It can be quite frightening. But if this SAS course give me tools how to really be in that situation, how that it's safe, and how to create that safety, and and how to navigate this. So then the fear will somehow go smaller and smaller and smaller. But the fear overall, in my experience, has never been gone. It's always. I feel fear right now speaking. It's part of human existence in my experience. So it's a good thing to explore as well. So if I would ask that or tell, is this SAS course necessary and for who exactly, then I would definitely say that for everybody who wants to really enhance and become more alive and more authentic, and to have these elementary skills to connect in a meaningful and fostering way. And it takes practice, and it starts from the SAS course. And yeah, so I'm telling this to everybody, my children's kindergarten teachers, to my business partners, to my friends, to everybody, because as I heard others also mentioning that this changed a lot in their lives. So basically, what you need to be afraid of, that it can change your life. That's quite scary for me already. Yeah. Second, that you are living with it, so it becomes an addiction probably. So so there's so many dangers already, and of course you need to be afraid of if you don't want to go along with change and keep these coping mechanisms. Because all the time, the older people, or in my family at least, some subjects are never addressed because it's just too scary. And but at the same time, it's the truth that the elephant is here, but no one is addressing it. And that's what I call is a lack of uh, uh, understanding and lack of tools and capacity to address these issues and communicate these matters in a safe and held way. And this is what SAS gave me, is first of all the tools how to navigate these things, and also the acceptance that if there is not enough safety to open up these matters, that's also okay.
It's really good what you're touching on there, Rain, with the like, if you don't know like that there's even a menu of like, okay, so you're in a situation with your family or your boss or your lover, that there's this difficult issue that you've tried to address, but it always seems to go the wrong way, and it always seems to create worse connection. No wonder you just yeah, you can't address it. There's nothing you can do. And that's why the practice is so important. You need to practice being able to be more truthful, or to find your truth, or to find what you feel emotionally. And that's where we need each other. And that also leads on to Laura. You did say at the beginning that someone asked a question about spirituality, and see we're coming near the end of time. So
Yeah.
it's good to just touch on that.
Yeah, that's yeah. The question is like, what's the potential of circling as spiritual practice?
Well, I'll just say something on that, because in my understanding, one way to understand spirituality is, in one way, it's like trying to get a clearer perception of what life really is. And we keep talking about what is and being with, but there's something about being a human being that you can actually experience life thinking it's like a certain way, and suddenly you can see more clearly or with more definition, and suddenly it's like, oh, it's so much more, or it's different to what I expected. And people who've like had like an illness or a shock or a tragedy, but also they went skiing, or they had a life moment that was like a peak moment. They suddenly like, oh, I feel love for people, or I feel grateful for life, or I feel and so spirituality is actually the kind of practice, or the it's a whole worldview of like, how do we really get this clearer perception and feeling of existence, of life and meaning. And so, and that's why humans do all these things like psychedelics and meditation and all these things to try to get in contact with that deeper truth and perception and feeling. But the amazing thing with circling that was like mind-blowing for me is it's like, because I was someone who longed for spiritual experience. It was almost aching in me. Like I wanted to experience expanded awareness, and I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to feel myself more, and it was really hard for me. I'd meditate a lot. I would do these things, and it wasn't always easy. With circling, it was always easy for me. It was like as soon as I did it, I would like open up and I would shift, and I'd be like I was on psychedelics or something, and it was so, and there's something so it's almost poetic for me, or like touching, that human beings just being together and seeing each other and being more truthful and intimate together is one of these, it's like an amazing doorway to spiritual experience, or to discovering the universe, or discovering love. And because the practice, we're trying to be just more who we are, and that's the other element of it. It's not just being present and in connection. We're trying to be more naturally who we are, and that's not easy, because we've learned to hide our anger or not be so outspoken, or we've been conditioned by life to be afraid of what's within us. But as we become more what's within us and we come together, it's so touching that simple thing of being human together is this gateway for spiritual experience.
For me, the spiritual part is quite big in circling, actually, and there are many like aspects, but one thing definitely is that the inner authority, like at least in my experience, circling is really emphasizing you finding your inner authority, and that's like, it's become clear for me that that's the real guru. Like it's in me. Like there is no external guru more wiser than my inner authority, and becoming really in touch with the authority, intuition, and just like all of that in me it has been definitely so remarkable due to circling practice. Yeah. Yeah, we've been already over 45 minutes, so maybe let's share a little bit about the opportunities as well, the weekend and the SAS coming in Estonia. Else, do you want to share?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the weekend is a good opportunity, like to really try out circling, but also go quite deep, because a lot can happen and unfold in 2 days. And I was just thinking before you asked me this question, like I place myself like in the space, like imagining that we're already there, kind of like at the opening of the weekends. And then for me, it's this place of just really daring to step in, like not knowing like what is about to happening, but still like bringing everything that is there. And so in that sense, it's, yeah, like what to say about that weekend now, like I don't know, but I know that it's going to be like a big adventure. And, yeah, that the magic always happens. Because that for me, like to come back to that spiritual part, like when that drop into presence, that really that opening up to being there and embodying ourselves. Like for me, it's like in that that space that everything becomes available. And that, the intelligence of the group also comes alive. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to play with that. And so let the weekend unfold in that way, but also know that there's probably going to be new people also. So I also want to, for them, like to really get a good taste of like what are some of the building blocks of this practice, and how can I find my own like way, like what's my unique contribution this weekend, like to bring that out on people. Yeah, I'm really happy to have you there, Laura, and you there, Sigrid. And also a couple of people that were in the SAS will be in the weekend. They're also very experienced circlers. So we'll have, quite a number of people that can really support the space.
Maybe you want to point out why it is necessary or why it is good that you have SAS graduates in the weekend. If I'm new,
why that is good?
yeah.
I think, like I said, like my sense is that the more people are in the space that already know this practice to a certain extent, or like have embodied it themselves, like there's more happening in the space, like more magic can become available. Not necessarily, but it's also, especially if the group is a bit bigger, there's always people there to connect to turn to, like when you need some extra support. So the space is very held, and in my opinion.
Yeah, and people that have been through an SAS, they've been on a journey, so they likely have like found a part of themselves that that they were really afraid to show, like they feel jealousy of someone when they're in connection with, and they manage to own that and go on the journey of like discovering their own jealousy, and so when you're with them in the space, someone who's gone through these deeper challenges, they'll likely show up with these subtleties, and then that will inspire you. Be like, whoa, that person just owned they were jealous of someone in the moment. Whoa, that's impactful. Or Rain will be there and he'll be like embodying a gorilla energy, and you'll be like, what? I've never seen that before. And it's like it touches you, and so having experienced people there is great, and but then being in a room of beginners is still going to be powerful.
Thank you for sharing. That's what I wanted to highlight, because there is some circuiting events going on constantly every week in Estonia with one leader or maybe sometimes more. But this weekend definitely has this collective capacity to hold much more. And it's inspirational in every ways, because there is already critical mass amount of people who actually navigate these realms in a way that helps us to connect with new sensations, understandings, and places in ourselves. So I think whoever is curious about the practice should come and grab a friend with them, just to with the indication that let's go try out this meaningful connection between human beings and see how it feels like. And I think it would be a great gift, because it seems that the more I develop as a human being and I'm getting older, this presence-based practices in our everyday life is a must. So there wouldn't be anything better, I think, in this weekend to really experience that.
Yeah. So let's say a few words about the SS as well. I think we haven't said that the SS is the 6 months leadership training program for people who don't know what it is. And it's, at least in my experience, I've done 3 of those SSs for now. And what I've seen and felt in myself, it's always super transformative for me and for everybody. Like that's one thing. Sean, do you want to share something about the SS that we start? in February?
Yeah, just super excited to be in Estonia again with you guys, and we've really developed this program over 10 years, so it's really become refined, and you're going to be going deep into the practice. You're going to be discovering how you can become more present and communicate some of the subtleties in you with others, and you're going to get a lot of guidance, and you're going to be with some of the most experienced circlers in the world, actually. And during the 6 months, you'll also have lots of opportunity you'll get coaching, you'll be in small groups of facilitators, you'll be circling each other with the participants. So there's lots of different ways you can explore and deepen, and you're just going to go on a deep journey. And alongside that, though, we're also developing your leadership. So you could lead circling. Agnes Kadri, they just did their SES in Estonia, and they were a bit worried about their language, and now they're just leading circling, and they can lead it well, and that's something. It's such a gift that if you can suddenly lead a group of people into this self-transforming human connection, and you know how to hold it, and you can navigate that. And the thing that we all know is that when you start leading, that's when your practice really starts deepening, because when you're leading, you're going to get touched, and it's going to impact you even more, the practice. So yeah, in this 6 months, you'll get a chance to develop yourself as a leader and be able to hold this practice, as well as just go on this mystical journey and integrating these deeper things in yourself.
And I think, like, in relation to what you say, Sean, I think one of the most, because I've led plenty of other types of workshops and practices, like in previous life, but I find that leading circling continues to be challenging, exciting. It's always transforming me. It's not like before I always felt like, oh, I'm a facilitator that stands on the sideline of the practice and I facilitate people, right? And that was never fulfilling. And what I love about leading circling is that I'm in the process as well. So it's always fresh for me. So that's something that I want to share with people. Like, if you have that interest, like in human connection, and you feel inspired by, what humans are about, then I would say that leading this practice, is absolutely, one of the best things. It's going to keep that inspiration and that fire going. That's how it is for me. Yeah.
You just answered the question that I didn't have a chance to ask, which was like, does circling ever get boring, or does it ever end?
No.
If you're lucky enough to find boredom, though, you can explore it really deeply and discover that it's a psychedelic gateway to the
creativity.
The universe.
Yeah.
And I'd just say to people, if you are curious about SES, you can book up a free call with me or Els Marie, and we'll have half an hour so you can ask your personal questions, and we can explore if it feels like a good fit for you. I'm also doing a free practice and exploration of SAS this Monday, 7 p.m. Central European time. And the other thing that's important, especially in Estonia, that Circling Europe is based in Central Europe, so the economy is sometimes a bit different for people. We do have a lot of ways of supporting people financially, and if there's any difficulties with that, please reach out and let us know. If you're drawn to this practice, we want to support you the best we can, and so just book up a call with me, email us, speak with you guys. You guys are all circling and available, so feel really welcome to reach out and just let us know where you are.
Right. Like I wouldn't like to end this, but I guess it's also time.
Maybe one more time about the weekend, the dates were.
So the intro evening is on the 19th. That can be followed separately for those who just want to come to the intro evening. And then there's the weekend on the 20th and the 21st of January.
And the information is available in Facebook.
Yes, there's a Facebook event. It has been shared and we will continue to share it, but also on the Circling Europe website, circling.com.
In the Estonian Eheduse practice group, you can find it under the events. Both of those, the intranet, the weekend, and the SS event is also in the group for Estonians.
And I do recommend for everybody who is interested about SS to book that half an hour coaching call with Sean or else. It's even if you decide not to join this time, the call itself is already inspirational. Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely circle a little and connect in that call.
Any other last words from anyone?
Just super happy to see you guys and hearing you sharing yourselves. It's been so good for me to be with you again. Thank you.
I'm very much looking forward to coming back to Tallinn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gear up warm because it's -15 Celsius right now.
Might need you to borrow me a coat, Laura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to have you here, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I'm also happy to see you all. It was nice to meet you again.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I noticed lightness and gratitude, and also synergy between us.
Good. Thank you, everybody who were listening to us on Facebook or who watched later. Have a good evening to everybody. Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye.